Hello, I'm William Cook, and this is my final video discussion board presentation for the American Christian Heritage class here at Liberty University. The subject is we are presenting what our research projects were. So, my research project is on the Salem witchcraft trials. Now, that's a sequence of events that took place in Salem, Massachusetts in the late 1600s, about 1691. Where there was a heavy chain of accusations of witchcraft against people in the village, and it received a lot of public attention, especially along the Christian community, and the gossip and he said, she said kind of got out of hand. People were throwing out accusations, and the courts were listening to them and hanging people quite easily. And so that's where my research topic is going to be designed around. Now, I'm going to be focusing on specifically the Christian impact. I wanted to talk about how they use Bible verses in order to justify hanging witches, and then I wanted to focus on the proceedings and establish the context of the time. And then I wanted to focus on the impact that this trial had on Christianity, because this was right before the American Revolution. And during that time, there was a big strive towards religious liberties, religious freedoms, and whether, my personal beliefs about witchcraft aside, and wizardry and all that area, it became tolerated in America ultimately. So we're going to look at how the Salem witch trials impacted that. And so we're also going to look at some key figures. We're going to talk about Reverend Samuel Parris, who was essentially, so at this time during the Puritans colonies, the reverends were the heads of the village essentially. So we're going to look at his history, find out exactly who he was, why this trial got blown up under his watch. We're going to look at a couple key figures, including the Mathers. We talked about Cotton Mather in, I believe, week 2. And I actually did a discussion board on him if you want to go back and look at that. If you want to find some more information on this, I highly encourage it. But he was a writer at the time, also trying to run for Harvard president. And this trial actually had a lasting impact on him and the Harvard University. So we're going to look at him a lot. We're going to look at a couple of the characters, Betty Good, the Osbornes, Giles Corey, John Proctor, a lot of the key figures that were involved in the trial itself. The Christian aspect, we look at the Puritans in particular, because that's who the village was. It was a village of Puritans. They have a history of intolerance and kind of quick to make judgment. We studied earlier in class the Puritans going after the Quakers. When the Quakers approached them, it was called the murders of the Quakers. So Puritans obviously have a little bit of history of intolerance, and I'm going to explore that in my research. I did explore that in my research. I'm going to be presenting that, and it's a very interesting subject. It comes from a lot of my interest as a childhood, as I got into acting, reading Arthur Miller, and he wrote The Crucible, which is a very successful story and ultimately became a successful movie starring Daniel Day-Lewis. I highly recommend that. Highly recommend the play. If you ever see it locally, definitely check it out, because it's a very interesting time in American history, and the Christian aspect played very heavily into these times. So that is my research project. Love being in this class. Love the freedom to research a key area of interest of mine, and I look forward to presenting this information.